Hi Year 10. This PowerPoint here focuses on exam questions that accompany the PowerPoint 2 on diet. So they're questions related to diet that you may experience in one of your component 3 exams. So it's really important that you've watched and listened to the last PowerPoint, made notes to help you actually answer the questions on this PowerPoint here. When you open your exam paper, your component 3 exam paper, on the very first page there'd be a scenario. So there'd be some background information on an individual that they're going to ask you questions about all the way through the exam paper. The scenario may include the person's age, name, where they live, how old they are, any illnesses, diseases, whether they have any lifestyle factors that have affected them, whether they smoke, drink, take drugs, exercise, have a bad diet. All of this must be remembered as you go through the exam paper because there will be questions based on that scenario. So I've done a scenario here. This is made up. James is 48 and lives in a second floor flat in Crawley. James is obese and struggles to get out of bed, wash himself, and it takes him ages to get out the house if he wants to go out. James struggles to walk to the lifts in his flat as he feels out of breath. When he gets to the front of the flats, the teenagers there say nasty things to him for being fat. The question here would be, describe negative impacts of being obese. Now, to help you here, you must always remember the pies, the physical, intellectual, emotional and social impacts of being obese. Once you start considering those pies, it becomes very easy to answer this question. So, for example, in this question, there's 4 marks. So you need to come up with 4 negative ways in which it's impacting upon him for being obese. So if we go to the next slide in a minute, I'll help you answer this question. So when you've got your exam paper, you open it up, you read the scenario, straight away you could highlight aspects of the scenario with a highlighter pen, and you can start highlighting physical, intellectual, emotional and social aspects that you feel could impact on him. When we're looking at how obesity has affected him, physically we could look at, say, we don't have to do all of these are just some ideas that I've put together on the table. So physically, being obese could impact his joints, affect his respiratory system, which is his breathing. It could become a strain on the heart, the cardiovascular system, which increases the risks of heart attacks and strokes. It can increase his risk of getting type 2 diabetes. It could be hard for him to exercise and to move. It won't be like he could easily run to catch a bus. He could be more prone to illness and disease. So physically, you don't have to do, like, you could choose one of each if you wanted to, but it gets you thinking about some of the main problems of being obese. If the minute you walk into the exam and a question like this comes up, you can reel them off. Intellectually, he could become more prone to illness, so that it could mean more time off work, so employers won't really like that. You could get overlooked for jobs due to size. People might think, oh, he's a bit big, or is he going to be off a lot? Is he going to be ill a lot? Are we going to have to increase the furniture size? And he might not be able to get to work, so he may become so obese that he finds it very difficult to get out and get to his place of work. Emotionally, it could affect your self-esteem and self-image. You may look at yourself in the mirror and not be very happy about it, but not know how to change it or what you could do to change it. It could just spiral. Some people get very unhappy and just eat more to make themselves feel better, and then that doesn't solve the problem. He could suffer with anxiety or depression. He could get very low about being this size, and he could lack confidence. He might get very, very self-conscious about going out. He might sort of think, oh gosh, what will people say? And that can massively impact on his mental health. Socially, you might not be able to get places due to the fitness. You might struggle to get into places such as fit into pub chairs, theme park seats, plane seats, and you might not feel confident about going out. So this is one way to think about answering this question. You cannot use anything in a scenario in your answer, i.e. it's said in a scenario that James gets out of breath. You can't put in your answer, James gets out of breath. They will not allow you. That's called using the stem, and they will not give you any points for that. So you have to think other reasons that could negatively impact on his health for being obese. So it's now over to you. You have got to answer this next question, and you need to take a photograph of it, pop it onto Instagram, or or type it out and email it to me, whatever way is best for you. But you've got to have an attempt at answering this question here. This is like a real exam question in component 3. So this scenario, so again, like I said, they will give you a scenario for each exam paper. They will keep the same person going through throughout. So let's imagine we've opened a brand new exam paper and we have Jodie. Jodie is 22 and she's underweight. She believes that she is overweight still and constantly thinks about ways in which she could lose more weight. She lives at home with her parents still and they're very worried about her. The question: describe the negative impacts of being severely underweight. Use the pies examples to assist you. They won't say use the pies examples to assist you in exam paper. I'm just giving you a tip here. So what you could do before you write out your answer to this exam question is you could actually quickly do a pies chart or a pies table like I did on our previous slide, and actually think about all the physical, intellectual, emotional and social impacts of being underweight. And then you can write a sentence on, just select one from each of the table, and you could actually write your answer describing the impacts it could be of being severely underweight on Jodie. Well, have a go at that. Send your answers to me. I'll be really impressed if you have answered this and get the full marks. So I'll let you know if you do. And enjoy, stay safe.